Good afternoon, ladies, and thank you for joining us in Far Above Rubies. I'm so glad to have you here today. We are diving into Philippians chapter 2, and I'm going to focus on verses 14 and 15, and they read like this. Do all things without complaining and arguing, that you may become blameless and harmless children of God, unblemished in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Ladies, nothing hurts our witness like the arguing and the complaining that comes out of our mouths. These verses tell us that if we want to become not just blameless children of God, but also harmless children of God, then we have to get rid of the negativity. How many of you complain to your husbands as soon as they walk in the door? Do you want to come home to that? How many times a week do you call or text your mom, your friend, your sister to complain? Oh, I know they'll listen to me. They'll egg me on. They'll encourage my rant. They'll let me get up on my soapbox. How recently did you argue with your husband? We're all guilty. Even if it's just a small argument. No, you didn't do what I asked you to do. No, you didn't get that right. How often do you argue with him? When was the last time you argued with him? Is it leaving you blameless and harmless in your walk with God and your witness in your own home? How often do you argue with your family, your extended family members? If you've got people who push the wrong buttons in you all the time, stay away from those people or pray yourself through better. Do not get yourself in a situation where you have to argue and where you choose to argue consistently. How many times a day does your child hear you complain? I'm just going to let the crickets chirp on that one. How many times a day does your child hear you complain? That slaps all of us right where we live. Okay? How often do you complain to your pastor's wife or your pastor about what's going on in the church or about somebody else in the church? God forbid that you are complaining about them to somebody else. Okay? How often do you complain to your pastor and your pastor's wife? How often do you complain to your husband, my fair pastor's wives that are here with us? How often do you complain to your husband about what's going on in the church? Get rid of the negativity, ladies. Be in control of your mouth. Ephesians 4:29. I'm going to read this a little bit paraphrased from the original Greek because I like the way the original text put it, but we're missing a few verbs and adverbs in there. It says, let no corrupt or contaminated word proceed out of your mouth, but instead that which is necessary to build someone up, that it may give grace to the hearers. Don't let contaminated conversation come out of your mouth. Is your conversation contaminated? Is your conversation contaminated with negativity, with guilt, with condemnation, with judgment, with fear, with spite, with anger, with vengefulness? Is your conversation contaminated? Let only that which will build up the person you are talking to come out of your mouth. Praise your husband, praise your kids, praise your pastor and your pastor's wife, praise your co-workers. Be that woman that everybody wants to be around, because when they leave you, when they leave your side, they are encouraged and they are built up, not torn down, or not listening to you to tear down someone else. Let your words impart grace. Don't let them harm your shining light. They can harm your witness. The purest, most untainted water can flow through a contaminated pipe, and no one's going to want to drink it. I don't care what spring it came out of. And so it is that if you are trying to let Jesus flow out of you, but there's just the breath before you allowed contaminated conversation to come out of your mouth, who is going to want that? Who wants to hear about Jesus from me if I just tore down my husband to them? If I just spoke ill of my pastor or pastor's wife to them, if I just complained about everything that went on in my day, and then I start to tell them, oh, did you know that Jesus loves you? Did you want to come to church with me? Did you? No, I don't want any of that, because I don't want what you have. It's contaminated. Be in control of your mouth. Get rid of the negativity. Let grace flow. Let encouragement and building up of people flow. We want to be harmless and we want to be blameless in our walk with God, that our light may shine. Your challenge for today is to read Philippians chapter 2, and also to ask God to help you filter your conversation. Ask Him to help you get rid of the negativity in your life. And then I want you to focus on being intentional about building people up that are around you and being an imparter of grace. We talked about being conduits of grace several days back. You are worthy of being that conduit. You are capable of being that conduit of grace. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. If no one has told you lately, you are loved and you are cherished and you are beautiful, and your price, your worth is far above rubies. Thank you for being here today, and I will see you all tomorrow.